Hi guys, welcome to our channel BioUran where you can spread your wings and learn biology with fun. We are here to help you with the chapters in your curriculum. As this is my first video, you can support this channel by liking the video and subscribe the channel for future updates. So without getting late, let's start. So in today's video, we will learn about the topic that is the unit of life, where we will discuss about the cell and their organelles in detail. So let's start. Hope you will enjoy it. So to start the chapter, we have to know the outline idea of a cell. Basically, we know that every living organism is made up of a cell. Cell is the place where all our metabolic activities takes place, and that is why we also call it as the functional unit of our body. In the slide, the left diagram is of the animal cell and the right diagram is of the plant cell. You can take a screenshot of the diagrams if you need it. So, do you know which is the smallest cell in the world? It is Mycoplasma gallisepticum. And do you know which is the largest cell in the world? It is an egg of an ostrich. And can you name the largest plant cell in the world? It is the marine algae Acetabularia. So I am giving you a homework to find which is the largest, smallest and longest cell in the human body, and you can answer it in the comment section. Proceeding further, we will discuss about the discovery of a cell. First, we have to know the meaning of the cell. Cell is a Latin word which means little room, and it was discovered by an English scientist Robert Hooke in 1665 while examining a piece of cork under a microscope. Later in 1674, another Dutch scientist, Antony van Leeuwenhoek, denoted a living cell in pond water for the first time. Later, two scientists, Matthias Jacobs Claden 1838 and Theodor Schwann 1839, proposed the first cell theory. According to them, all animals and plants are composed of cells and it is the basic unit of life. Next, in the right side, you can see the diagram of a cork, and in the left side, you can see the microscope by which Robert Hooke first discovered the cell. Now, we will discuss about the various organisms found in the world. The invention of the magnifying glass led to the discovery of this microscopic world. It is known that a single cell may constitute a whole organism, as in amoeba, euglena, paramecium, chlamydomonas, bacteria. The organisms are known as unicellular organism, and uni means single. On the other hand, multicellular organisms are the organisms that consist of more than one cell and works individually to perform the various functions in the body. These have the examples of the higher plants and the animals. As you can see in the upper part, I have gave the diagram of the unicellular organisms, and in the lower part, they are the multicellular organisms. Now we will discuss about the types of the cell. A scientist named Dougherty in 1957 divided the cell into two definite types according to the nature of the nucleus. Nucleus was first discovered by Robert Brown in 1831. So, basically, there are two types of cell. They are the prokaryotic cell and the eukaryotic cell. The prokaryotic cell are the primitive type. This type of cells does not have a membrane-bound nucleus, mitochondria, and they have the example of the bacteria, blue-green algae, etc. On the other hand, the eukaryotic cells have a membrane-bound nucleus, mitochondria, and the other organelles. The examples of the eukaryotic cells are the higher plants and the animals. Here you can see the diagram of both the prokaryotic and the eukaryotic cells. We saw that the cell have a special components called organelles. So basically how a cell organized? If we study a cell under a microscope, we will come across these features: plasma membrane, nucleus, cytoplasm. All activities inside the cell and their interaction takes place through these features. So let's see how. First, we will discuss about the plasma membrane or the cell membrane. This is the outermost covering of a cell that separates the contents of the cell from the external environment. It allows or permits the entry and exit of some materials within it. Therefore, it is also called as the selectively permeable membrane. Some substances like CO2 and O2 can move across the cell membrane by a process called diffusion. I hope you know what is diffusion. On the other hand, the movement of the water across the plasma membrane is affected by the amount of the substances dissolved in water. Two scientists named Singer and Nicholson in 1972 showed that the membrane is formed of two phospholipid layers with a distinct surface proteins and integral proteins in between, which was termed as the fluid mosaic model. As you can see in the diagram, it is called the PLP model of the plasma membrane. PLP means protein, lipid and protein. The yellow colored ball-like structures form the lipid layer, and in between the blue channels are the protein structures. Here you can see many proteins like the channel protein, the peripheral protein, integral protein, glycoprotein and etc. So now we will discuss about the functions of the plasma membrane. So what are the functions? It protects the cytoplasm and maintains the shape of an animal cell. It helps in intracellular transport. It helps in cell eating and cell drinking by phagocytosis and pinocytosis. Phagocytosis means the absorption of the solid parts, and pinocytosis means the absorption of the liquid parts. Now we will discuss about the cell wall, which is only restricted to the plants. That is, they are absent in the animals. So what is cell wall then? Plant cells, in addition to the plasma membrane, have another rigid outer covering called cell wall. It lies outside the plasma membrane. The plant cell wall is mainly composed of cellulose with three defined layers. The first one is the middle lamella, which is the first layer formed during the cell division. The second one is the primary wall, formed by the deposition of the cellulosic material on middle lamella and include microfibrils. The third one is the secondary wall, formed by the deposition of the lignin, cutin on the primary wall. You can see the picture. The different parts of the cell wall are labeled as described. So now what are the functions of the cell wall? It protects the cell and provides rigidity. Number 2, it may act as a storehouse of different excretory matters. Number 3, it helps in the movement of the materials within the cell. And number 4, it helps in the intracellular transport via plasmodesmata. You have to note one thing. The plasmodesmata is the connection between two plant cells and are maintained by the cytoplasmic channels bordered by the cell wall. So now we have to know about the cytoplasm. The jelly-like translucent colloidal matrix present within the cell is known as cytoplasm, as you can see in the diagram. It consists of proteins, fat, carbohydrate, hormones, nucleic acid, vitamins and non-living compounds. And it is differentiated into outer ectoplasm and inner endoplasm. So now what are the functions of the cytoplasm? It acts as a matrix for cell organelles. It controls the different metabolic activities. It maintains coordination between the different organelles within the cell, and it is sensitive to external stimuli. The next we will discuss about is the nucleus. So, a membrane-bound central controlling organelle of the cell carrying the genetic information is known as nucleus. It is present in all living cell except RBC in the human body and sieve tube of plant cell. You have to note that usually a cell have a single nucleus, but in some algae and fungi, multiple nucleus are found. You can see in the diagram that it is defined there, the nucleolus, nuclear pores, nuclear membrane, fibrils. We will discuss about this in the next following slides. So first we will know about the nuclear membrane. It is a living component surrounding the nucleus. It consists of two separate lipid protein membranes separated by the perinuclear space and pores called nuclear pores. You can see in the picture, the nuclear membrane is the blue colored portion and the small hole structures are the nuclear pores. So now, what are the functions of the nuclear membrane? It separates the nucleoplasm from the cytoplasm. It protects the nucleus. And the last one is the maintains community between the nucleus and the cytoplasm via the nuclear pores. Next, we will discuss about the nuclear reticulum. The fine net-like chromatin, which are the genetic materials within the nucleus, is called nuclear reticulum. The chromatin separated during the cell division to form chromosomes. So, what are the chromosomes? The chromosomes are formed of the genetic material called genes, which carry the characters of one generation to the next generation. And gene is formed of DNA, that is deoxyribonucleic acid. You will get to know about the DNA in the further classes. As you can see in the picture, the dotted lines which are present within the nucleus are the nuclear reticulum. Now, what are the functions of the nuclear reticulum? It forms the chromosome and it carries the gene. So now, what is nucleoplasm? The transparent jelly-like matrix within the nucleus is called nucleoplasm. It is a mixture of the granular matrix and hold the nuclear reticulum in position. Nucleoplasm is also known as karyoplasm. As you can see in the picture, it is mentioned as the karyoplasm. So now what are the functions of the nucleoplasm? It is the ground substance of the nucleus and it stores foods and enzymes. So the fourth part is the nucleolus. The dense round refractile body that remains inside the nucleus is known as nucleolus. It consists of a granular part, fibrillar part, matrix and the chromatin body. As you can see in the picture, the red colored portion is clearly mentioned as the nucleolus. Now, what are the functions of the nucleolus? It helps in cell division, helps in protein and RNA production. What is RNA? It is the ribonucleic acid. And number 3, produce ribosomes. In the last few slides, we discussed about the parts of the nucleus and their functions. So now we will get to know about the general functions of the nucleus. Number 1, it transmits characters from one generation to another generation. And number 2, it synthesizes RNA, ribosome and protein. Thank you for watching my video. In the next video, I will discuss about the second part of this chapter. If you like my video, please like, share and subscribe. Till then, goodbye.